Namaskar, Sathiyo. Today we are going to talk about political theory and how political theory is different from political thought. Many students have comprehensional problems regarding political theory and how to differentiate between political theory and political thought. Some treat them as synonymous, but exactly if you look into the nuances of political thought and political theory, you will find that they are not, and there are very substantial differences. We had earlier in the previous lecture discussed about political thought, and to summarize that and revisit that, a political thought is thought about the state. When we think about the state, we think about its origin, nature, structure, functions, and so on and so forth. So, and also the relation between the individual and the state. So, all that becomes a subject of political thought. Now, today's focus is on political theory, and this is really very important because we have to understand that what we are doing when we are actually reading or writing a political theory. So, if we approach this entire question of political theory from this vantage, then you will probably realize that political theory is the oldest probably branch of political inquiry into political questions. And of course, it is a branch of political science, but it is very foundational. It is the oldest branch of political science, which takes you into the field of political inquiry, where you inquire about several political questions. And just to take a modern example, John Rawls, as we all know, has written a very good book, A Theory of Justice. So he is writing on a theory of justice. So when you read that book, or when you attempt to look at that book, then what you are expecting Rawls to write on and what Rawls has actually written, you will find that digging into the writings of John Rawls, when he is attempting a political theory of justice, he is taking you into the past conception of justice, how justice has been traditionally talked about. He is also challenging the existing and the previous conceptions of justice. And not only that, he is normatively prescribing what justice ought to be, and how this new concept of justice propounded by Rawls can better the future of humanity and society, and how justice and liberty would be actually balanced. So all these questions, they are inquiries, interrogatives, and most of them are normative. So you can see that here political theory is intruding into the boundary of political philosophy, because when you enter into the realm of philosophy, then you have a question what ought to be, and here you can look at this the entire thing very clearly, that when we say that political theory is taking you into inquiring several political concepts and inquiring the issue of several political questions, then certainly we find that there are certain normative components in the entire political theory. So thus the nature of political theory, if you were to answer, if you are asked what is the nature of political theory, then you will certainly say that the nature of political theory is both philosophical and normative. It means that it is trying to not only inquire into the question or concepts, but it is also into a prescriptive mode. It is also prescribing you what ought to be, and therefore it becomes a little normative also. And therefore, once you are into the normative shoe, then all your answers to political questions and concepts, they are subject to questioning, and they can be even criticized also. And that's why you find that on most of the political thinkers, there is a very substantial amount of disagreement and difference on the issue of answers to various political questions, and disagreements about the boundaries of and the characteristics of several political concepts. So political theorists, basically, they are also prescribing you political values. They are giving you new concepts, like John Rawls gave you a new concept of justice, and there are certain philosophical components in that. If we are also to mention John Locke, and John Locke, as we all know, was a unique and unique theorist of classical liberalism, but at the same time he was not only a theorist of classical liberalism, but he was also a theorist of empiricism, because he said the human mind is like a clean slate and all knowledge comes from the experiences of the world. So he is being both a theorist and an empiricist. So here you find that political theory and political theorists, they are caring about the future also. They're not into the inquiry mode only, but they are also inquiring into the questions of and concepts of politics and political, with a view to prescribing something for the betterment of the society and betterment of the better understanding of the concepts. That means that they are also telling you that what is possible and what is desirable, both the things they are telling you. And therefore, if I were to discuss the what is the logical structure of political theory, how do you will structure a political theory, then you will find three basic components in political theory. One is the factual. They are telling you what is the fact, how things are, how political concepts they have been defined. That is one. Second is that they are also being causal, trying to give you certain reasons of something, some phenomena, why something is like that. And therefore, the second component is their causal component. They are looking into the causes of a particular phenomena. And then finally, there is a third component which we call value or valuational. That means they are also prescribing you certain values through which you can better understand those concepts and better get the answers to those political questions. So political theory, you find they are playing a double role here. Number one, they are theories or logical entities belonging to abstract world of thought. That is one. And two is they are beliefs and events in people's minds and factor in their conduct, because these theory are, they are injecting some element of value into your mind. So that means how you should now think about those concepts, like John Rawls telling you how you should not think about the concepts provided by Plato and Aristotle and other thinkers, but you should think about how John Rawls has prescribed the concept of justice. So there is a valuational, so factual, causal, and valuational. These are the three basic structural components of political theory. Thus, political theorist is playing a double role. They are not only belonging to abstract world of thought, but yet they are also, influencing people's minds and people's conduct. And they are influencing people's mind, and they are influential not because they are true, but because the people believe that he is right. People believe that John Rawls' theory of justice is a better and improved version of justice over the previous version. And therefore, you may accept Rawls, you may reject Rawls, that is a different issue, but he is, giving you a normative part of what theory of justice is all about. But at the same time, we also have to understand that there has to be no watertight compartment between theory and practice. That means when we say political theorist, that sometimes it comes to our mind that he is a variety or she is a variety who is absolutely cut off and different from a political activist. It's not. Actually, you cannot prescribe a comprehensive and very, coherent political theory unless you have also some knowledge, some awareness, some idea of the activism part of the entire concept. That means if you prescribe a theory of justice or theory of liberty or theory of equality, then you must have experienced those things in your life, and must have also suffered on account of all those things, or enjoyed the benefit of all those. So you must have an experiential part with you, so that you also come up with a theorization and theoretical formulation of what it ought to be, what it should be like. So a political theory can have a policy element in it. That is one very important thing. And if it is as a policy element, it can be for the status quo, or it can prescribe changes in the stated cause and effect relationship. So both the things are, as I said, it has a character of it can be or status quo. It can say everything is fine, the present concept is fine, but it can also say that move on, and this is the new concept. Let us think about justice or liberty or equality in a different manner. So it could be revolutionary, it could be liberal, it could be conservative, it could be reactionary, and so on and so forth. And that's why Sabine, Professor George Sabine, as you all know, is a very eminent scholar on the subject, and therefore he says that there is no such thing as disinterested political theory. That means all political theory has some interest, and that interest is in the prescription of certain values. Let us take an example of the constitution. Why different societies have different constitutions? This is a very important question. Why not one single ideal type of constitution for each and every society? It is because the political theory, the constitution is an embodiment of a political theory. I mean, you cannot have a constitution unless you also have a political theory approved by the society. When the Constituent Assembly makes a constitution for any country, then the Constituent Assembly and the people who make the constitution, they must be conversant and clear about a particular political theory through which they would treat down the entire article 1 to the last of the constitution. And what they are trying to do in this constitution, for example, if we take the Indian constitution, what our forefathers have tried to do in the Indian constitution, they have tried to balance the state vis-a-vis the individual. They have tried to balance the authority vis-a-vis the liberty. And this central question, it gives you some kind of a political theory that you inject into your constitution, and that's why you have anarchy on the one extreme of the continuum, and you have the dictatorship on the other extreme of the continuum. On the anarchy side, the liberty of the individual is absolutely free without any restraints, and on the other side, you have the dictatorship where the liberty of the individual is at the minimum and the authority of the state is at the maximum. And in between, you have several shades of political theory formulations like liberalism, individualism, utilitarianism, idealism, Marxism, Leninism, this, that, and so on and so forth, and finally the dictatorship. So this is how a issue of political theory has impinges on the political theory of the constitution, or impinges on the entire political system which is operates through the constitution. So in practical life, we can say that every society lives with a political theory, and that political theory is embodied in the constitution in various formulations. And the formulation is how we understand the concept of liberty in our constitution, how we should understand the concept of equality in our constitution, how we should consider the concept of justice, fraternity, equality, etc., in our constitution, and that we try to build through various provisions in our constitution. And that's why every constitution is a beautiful manifestation of the political theory of a society. And therefore, you must understand that political theory is always, and that's why we have an evolutionary constitution. We have a constitution which constantly evolves, because political theory is not a dead thing, it's dynamic. The society keeps on shaping and reshaping its political theory, prescribing new values, new norms, new judgments about the concepts, etc., through various machinations, like it can be parliament, it can be judiciary, it can be the people, and so on and so forth. And therefore every constitution has amendments through which it evolves, and that's why a political theory is constantly evolving concept so far as the political inquiry is concerned. And that's why every society constantly keeps on marching along with the political theory, and that's why the constitution also keeps marching along the political theory in every society. Thank you very much.